Traveling has always been a favorite pastime of ours. We love visiting with the locals, soaking in the sights, and throwing ourselves into whatever activities a venue has to offer. And most of all, we savor the food, especially with our friends. But now we're social distancing. We can't even leave our yard without a mask. Well, I need to exercise, and I have a hankering for Italian food. So this weekend, we're throwing a dinner party. And today, I'm riding my bike. Our dinner guests won't set foot in our house, so we won't be violating any quarantine rules. But as for today's ride, well, I refuse to wear a mask on my bike. That's how I roll. We're starting with caprese bites, drizzled with balsamic vinegar and olive oil. That'll be followed by Orecchiette Pugliese, pasta coated in broccoli puree and other tasty ingredients. Then comes the star of our dinner, porchetta. That's the Italian word for pork, but it's infinitely more. Our main course will also feature creamy Parmesan white bean stew with spicy greens. This supremely flavorful dish could stand on its own. And I'll be baking aromatic Italian bread loaves to mop up the sauces. We'll cap our feast with orange polenta cake and lemon ice cream, both homemade of course, and both to die for. Following the same template as our last bourbon dinner, I will do all the advanced prep work. Our guests will pick up the partially prepared entrees, we'll connect via a group chat platform, and everyone will complete the cooking individually. Then we'll sit down to enjoy the feast. Mangiare. It's Friday, the day before the dinner party, and we're going to start off by making the lemon ice cream. We need to make this first because we'll need to chill it for 4 hours and then churn it up, and we'll freeze it overnight. And I'm going to start by zesting a lemon. Now I'm going to juice both lemons for the lemon ice cream. I'm going to add both the zest and the lemon juice to this pot, and to that we're going to add 500 milliliters of heavy cream and 500 milliliters of milk. And I'm also going to add castor sugar. If you need the directions, the entire recipes are on the website. I'll post the link on the screen. Just take a look there. And we're going to now bring it to a simmer and simmer it for about 15 minutes. Alright, the lemon cream has been simmering for 15 minutes, and I'm now going to strain it into a bowl. I've prepared an ice bath so that we can cool this off, and after I cool it in here, I'm going to refrigerate it for about 4 hours. We're now going to turn to the biga, and the biga is a pre-ferment for the Italian bread. And I'm going to start with the bread flour, and I've got 2.5 cups in here. 7/8 of a cup room temperature water, and 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. I'm going to stir this up until it forms a kind of a shaggy ball. And then I'm going to knead it on the electric stand mixer for about 6 minutes. And there's what we have there, kind of a rough, shaggy ball. Alright, I just checked the temperature of the internal temperature of the dough, and it's about 82. I'm going to let this sit for about 3 or 4 hours in a lightly oiled bowl, and it will just about double in size. And then we'll knead it lightly to degas it. I'll cover it, chill it, and let it sit until tomorrow. The lemon cream has been chilling now for about half hour, 45 minutes in the ice bath, and I'm going to chill it in the refrigerator now for about 4 hours. I'm going to start now on the Orecchiette Pugliese. I'm going to first chop this bread into coarse breadcrumbs. I'm going to bake it at 320 for about 8 or 10 minutes until it's dry. I have the stove warming to 320. Google, give me an 8-minute timer.
Set timer for 8 minutes.
Continuing on with the Orecchiette, I'm now going to mince up some garlic. It calls for 4, I'm going to use 5, and 2 long red chilies. I'm going to take a third of the garlic and half of the pepper, and we're going to saute that in oil in a moment, and we're going to reserve the rest for later today. Continuing on with the Orecchiette, I'm going to zest 2 lemons and grate 100 grams of pecorino cheese. I'm going to heat 140 milliliters, which is about 9.5 tablespoons of oil, olive oil, at medium-high heat. Then I'm going to take 1/3 of the garlic and half of the pepper, and I'm going to saute it for a minute or two, and I'm going to add the breadcrumbs to that, and then after that the lemon zest and the pecorino cheese. I'm going to add the breadcrumbs, and we're going to saute these for about 3 or 4 minutes until they're golden brown. And I'm going to add the lemon zest, stir it in, and then I will turn off the heat, let it cool, and stir the pecorino in after it's cooled. I'm getting ready to fry the pancetta, and I'm going to fry that with the rest of the garlic and red chili pepper. I'm going to take 100 milliliters of olive oil, that's about 6 tablespoons, and heat it at medium temperature. I'm going to mix the pecorino cheese in with the breadcrumbs. I'm also going to start boiling water for the broccoli. I'm going to separate the heads from the stems. Let's go ahead and fry the pancetta and the rest of the chili pepper and garlic. I'm going to go about 3 or 4 minutes with this. The water is boiling now. I've added some salt to it, and I'm going to start with the chopped up stems of the broccoli, and we're going to go about 3 or 4 minutes till it's almost tender. And then I'm going to add to that the heads of the broccoli, the florets, and we'll go another 3 or 4 minutes until those are almost tender. Then I'll puree those until they're smooth and add some salt and pepper. Right, I'm going to let this cool at room temperature, and then I'm going to divide it into 3 parts, chill it in the refrigerator overnight. I've started on the porchetta, And initially I've taken the pork loin and I'm trimming off the silver skin and the excess fat. And after this is trimmed off, this goes back into the refrigerator. I have the pork belly here, and it weighs about 5.5 pounds. And what I'm going to do is score diamonds into it, about 1 inch in size, on the meat side of it, not the skin side. And this will be wrapped around the pork loin. Now I'm going to make the brine for the pork loin. I have 2 quarts of water, and into that I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup of salt, 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'll just let this dissolve in here, and we'll save it until tomorrow. I'm going to make the rub now for the porchetta, and I've got 2 tablespoons of sage, a tablespoon of rosemary, a couple garlic cloves, 2 teaspoons of thyme or thereabout, about a teaspoon of lemon zest, and some crushed red pepper, 2 teaspoons. And I'm going to chop all these up fine and mix them together and hold them till tomorrow. In goes the zest and the crushed red pepper. I'm going to stick these in the fridge and hold them till tomorrow. I've got a tablespoon of black peppercorns and a tablespoon of fennel seeds, and I'm going to toast these for 2 minutes at medium heat. And then I will be adding these to the sage mixture. Alright, before I mix the fennel seeds and peppercorns in with the sage mixture, I'm going to go ahead and grind them and cool them. The lemon cream has been chilling in the refrigerator now for 4 hours. Alright, I think that's done. I'm going to divide this up into 3 parts. I'm turning now to the bean stew. I'm going to dice up 4 anchovies and mix them with crushed red pepper flakes. Then I'm going to chill them and hold them till tomorrow. And now I'm going to dice 1 sweet onion. I'm going to combine with the bacon along with 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. Alright, there's the onion and bacon and seasoning for the bean soup. For the orange polenta cake, I'm going to zest and juice 2 oranges. The juice is going to be used for both the cake and the glaze. Alright, I'm going to save 100 milliliters of the juice for the glaze, and the rest will go into the cake. The last set of tasks for the advanced preparations involve the caprese bites. We're going to start by slicing 14 or so fresh mozzarella balls in half. And next I'm going to take a pint of grape tomatoes, slice those in half. And that ends the advanced preparations. The final preparations tomorrow start at, I believe, 9 o'clock or so. So I'll be up, well, not early, but bright to get that done.
Oh my god, Lisa, this is like pig skin.
One of you is slicing that, the other can go ahead and spoon the beans.
No, we're making a video, Tim. We can't do that right now.